the new God of prophecy, the new gods of prophecy, the new God of prophecy, the new goddess of prophecy, the new goddesses of prophecy, the new goddess of prophecy, the old God of prophecy, the old gods of prophecy, the old God of prophecy, the old goddess of prophecy, the old goddesses of prophecy, the old goddess of prophecy, the greater God of prophecy, the greater gods of prophecy, the greater God of prophecy, the greater goddess of prophecy, the greater goddesses of prophecy, the greater goddess of prophecy, the lesser God of prophecy, the lesser gods of prophecy, the lesser God of prophecy, the lesser goddess of prophecy, the lesser goddesses of prophecy, the lesser goddess of prophecy, the higher God of prophecy, the higher gods of prophecy, the higher God of prophecy, the higher goddess of prophecy, the higher goddesses of prophecy, the higher goddess of prophecy, the lower God of prophecy, the lower gods of prophecy, the lower God of prophecy, the lower goddess of prophecy, the lower goddesses of prophecy, the lower goddess of prophecy, the greater spirit of prophecy, the greater spirits of prophecy, the greater spirit of prophecy, the lesser spirit of prophecy, the lesser spirits of prophecy, the lesser spirit of prophecy, the higher spirit of prophecy, the higher spirits of prophecy, the higher spirit of prophecy, the lower spirit of prophecy, the lower spirits of prophecy, the lower spirit of prophecy, the major God of prophecy, the major gods of prophecy, the major God of prophecy, the major goddess of prophecy, the major goddesses of prophecy, the major goddess of prophecy, the minor God of prophecy, the minor gods of prophecy, the minor God of prophecy, the minor goddess of prophecy, the minor goddesses of prophecy, the minor goddess of prophecy, the superior God of prophecy, the superior gods of prophecy, the superior God of prophecy, the superior goddess of prophecy, the superior goddesses of prophecy, the superior goddess of prophecy, the inferior God of prophecy, the inferior gods of prophecy, the inferior God of prophecy, the inferior goddess of prophecy, the inferior goddesses of prophecy, the inferior goddess of prophecy, the ancestor God of prophecy, the ancestor gods of prophecy, the ancestor God of prophecy, the ancestor goddess of prophecy, the ancestor goddesses of prophecy, the ancestor goddess of prophecy, the ascendant God of prophecy, the ascendant gods of prophecy, the ascendant God of prophecy, the ascendant goddess of prophecy, the ascendant goddesses of prophecy, the ascendant goddess of prophecy, the descendant God of prophecy, the descendant gods of prophecy, the descendant God of prophecy, the descendant goddess of prophecy, the descendant goddesses of prophecy, the descendant goddess of prophecy, the transcendent God of prophecy, the transcendent gods of prophecy, the transcendent God of prophecy, the transcendent goddess of prophecy, the transcendent goddesses of prophecy, the transcendent goddess of prophecy, the past God of prophecy, the past gods of prophecy, the past God of prophecy, the past goddess of prophecy, the past goddesses of prophecy, the past goddess of prophecy, the present God of prophecy, the present gods of prophecy, the present God of prophecy, the present goddess of prophecy, the present goddesses of prophecy, the present goddess of prophecy, the future God of prophecy, the future gods of prophecy, the future God of prophecy, the future goddess of prophecy, the future goddesses of prophecy, the future goddess of prophecy, the authentic God of prophecy, the authentic gods of prophecy, the authentic God of prophecy, the authentic goddess of prophecy, the authentic goddesses of prophecy, the authentic goddess of prophecy, the synthetic God of prophecy, the synthetic gods of prophecy, the synthetic God of prophecy, the synthetic goddess of prophecy, the synthetic goddesses of prophecy, the synthetic goddess of prophecy, the progressive god of prophecy, the progressive gods of prophecy, the progressive god of prophecy, the progressive goddess of prophecy, the progressive goddesses of prophecy, the progressive goddess of prophecy, the regressive god of prophecy, the regressive gods of prophecy, the regressive god of prophecy, the regressive goddess of prophecy, the regressive goddesses of prophecy, the regressive goddess of prophecy, the ordinary god of prophecy, the ordinary gods of prophecy, the ordinary god of prophecy, the ordinary goddess of prophecy, the ordinary goddesses of prophecy, the ordinary goddess of prophecy, the extraordinary god of prophecy, the extraordinary gods of prophecy, the extraordinary god of prophecy, the extraordinary goddess of prophecy, the extraordinary goddesses of prophecy, the extraordinary goddess of prophecy, the static god of prophecy, the static gods of prophecy, the static god of prophecy, the static goddess of prophecy, the static goddesses of prophecy, the static goddess of prophecy, the dynamic god of prophecy, the dynamic gods of prophecy, the dynamic god of prophecy, the dynamic goddess of prophecy, the dynamic goddesses of prophecy, the dynamic goddess of prophecy, the land god of prophecy, the land gods of prophecy, the land god of prophecy, the land goddess of prophecy, the land goddesses of prophecy, the land goddess of prophecy, the sea god of prophecy, the sea gods of prophecy, the sea god of prophecy, the sea goddess of prophecy, the sea goddesses of prophecy, the sea goddess of prophecy, the sky god of prophecy, the sky gods of prophecy, the sky god of prophecy, the sky goddess of prophecy, the sky goddesses of prophecy, the sky goddess of prophecy, the god of prophecy, the gods of prophecy, the god of prophecy, the goddess of prophecy, the goddesses of prophecy, the goddess of prophecy, the half god of prophecy, the half gods of prophecy, the half god of prophecy, the half goddess of prophecy, the half goddesses of prophecy, the half goddess of prophecy, the vessel of prophecy, the vessels of prophecy, the vessel of prophecy, the name of prophecy, the names of prophecy, the name of prophecy, the person of prophecy, the persons of prophecy, the person of prophecy, the persona of prophecy, the personas of prophecy, the persona of prophecy, the personage of prophecy, the personages of prophecy, the personage of prophecy, the personality of prophecy, the personalities of prophecy, the personality of prophecy, the personification of prophecy, the personifications of prophecy, the personification of prophecy, the image of prophecy, the images of prophecy, the image of prophecy, the imagination of prophecy, the imaginations of prophecy, the imagination of prophecy, the belief of prophecy, the beliefs of prophecy, the belief of prophecy, the thought of prophecy, the thoughts of prophecy, the thought of prophecy, the word of prophecy, the words of prophecy, the word of prophecy, the action of prophecy, the actions of prophecy, the action of prophecy, the reaction of prophecy, the reactions of prophecy, the reaction of prophecy, the feeling of prophecy, the feelings of prophecy, the feeling of prophecy, the situation of prophecy, the situations of prophecy, the situation of prophecy, the circumstance of prophecy, the circumstances of prophecy, the circumstance of prophecy, the environment of prophecy, the environments of prophecy, the environment of prophecy, the relationship of prophecy, the relationships of prophecy, the relationship of prophecy, the number of prophecy, the numbers of prophecy, the number of prophecy, the formula of prophecy, the formulas of prophecy, the formula of prophecy, the equation of prophecy, The equations of prophecy. The equation of prophecy. The theory of prophecy. The theories of prophecy. The theory of prophecy. The symbol of prophecy. The symbols of prophecy. The symbol of prophecy. The color of prophecy. The colors of prophecy. The color of prophecy. The thing of prophecy. The things of prophecy. The thing of prophecy. The way of prophecy. The ways of prophecy. The way of prophecy. The place of prophecy. The places of prophecy. The place of prophecy. The time of prophecy. The times of prophecy. The time of prophecy. The event of prophecy. The events of prophecy. The event of prophecy. The result of prophecy. The results of prophecy. The result of prophecy. The crown of prophecy. The crowns of prophecy. The crown of prophecy. The throne of prophecy. The thrones of prophecy. The throne of prophecy. The prophecy king. The prophecy kings. The prophecy kingdom. The prophecy kingdoms. The prophecy king subject. The prophecy king subjects. The prophecy king's dominion. The prophecy king's dominions. The kingdom of prophecy. The kingdoms of prophecy. The kingdom of prophecy. The prophecy queen. The prophecy queens. The prophecy queendom. The prophecy queendoms. The prophecy queen subject. The prophecy queen subjects. The prophecy queen's dominion. The prophecy queen's dominions. The queendom of prophecy. The queendoms of prophecy. The queendom of prophecy. The prophecy prince. The prophecy princes. The prophecy princedom. The prophecy princedoms. The prophecy princes subject. The prophecy princes subjects. The prophecy princes dominion. The prophecy princes dominions. The princedom of prophecy. The princedoms of prophecy. The princedom of prophecy. The prophecy princess. The prophecy princesses. The prophecy princessdom. The prophecy princessdoms. The prophecy princesses subject. The prophecy princesses subjects. The prophecy princesses dominion. The prophecy princesses dominions. The princessdom of prophecy. The princessdoms of prophecy. The princessdom of prophecy. The lord of prophecy. The lords of prophecy. The lord of prophecy. The lordess of prophecy. The lordesses of prophecy. The lordess of prophecy. The priest of prophecy. The priests of prophecy. The priest of prophecy. The priestess of prophecy. The priestesses of prophecy. The priestess of prophecy. The ritual of prophecy. The rituals of prophecy. The ritual of prophecy. The shrine of prophecy. The shrines of prophecy. The shrine of prophecy. The temple of prophecy. The temples of prophecy. The temple of prophecy. The leader of prophecy. The leaders of prophecy. The leader of prophecy. The follower of prophecy. The followers of prophecy. The follower of prophecy. The natural substance of prophecy. The natural substances of prophecy. The natural substance of prophecy. The supernatural substance of prophecy. The supernatural substances of prophecy. The supernatural substance of prophecy. The temporal substance of prophecy. The temporal substances of prophecy. The temporal substance of prophecy. The spiritual substance of prophecy. The spiritual substances of prophecy. The spiritual substance of prophecy. The natural form of prophecy. The natural forms of prophecy. The natural form of prophecy. The supernatural form of prophecy. The supernatural forms of prophecy. The supernatural form of prophecy. The temporal form of prophecy. The temporal forms of prophecy. The temporal form of prophecy. The spiritual form of prophecy. The spiritual forms of prophecy. The spiritual form of prophecy. The age of prophecy. The ages of prophecy. The age of prophecy. The era of prophecy. The eras of prophecy. The era of prophecy. The awakener of prophecy. The awakeners of prophecy. The awakener of prophecy. The awakening of prophecy. The awakenings of prophecy. The awakening of prophecy. The realm of prophecy. The realms of prophecy. The realm of prophecy. The dimension of prophecy. The dimensions of prophecy. The dimension of prophecy. The zone of prophecy. The zones of prophecy. The zone of prophecy. The frequency of prophecy. The frequencies of prophecy. The frequency of prophecy. The century of prophecy. The centuries of prophecy. The century of prophecy. The millennium of prophecy. The millenniums of prophecy. The millennium of prophecy. The purpose of prophecy. The purposes of prophecy. The purpose of prophecy. The meaning of prophecy. The meanings of prophecy. The meaning of prophecy. The culture of prophecy. The cultures of prophecy. The culture of prophecy. The demonstrator of prophecy. The demonstrators of prophecy. The demonstrator of prophecy. The demonstration of prophecy. The demonstrations of prophecy. The demonstration of prophecy. The manifester of prophecy. The manifestors of prophecy. The manifester of prophecy. The manifestation of prophecy. The manifestations of prophecy. The manifestation of prophecy. The presence of prophecy. The presences of prophecy. The presence of prophecy. The glow of prophecy. The glows of prophecy. The glow of prophecy. The goal of prophecy. The goals of prophecy. The goal of prophecy. The plan of prophecy. The plans of prophecy. The plan of prophecy. The book of prophecy. The books of prophecy. The book of prophecy. The philosopher of prophecy. The philosophers of prophecy. The philosopher of prophecy. The philosophy of prophecy. The philosophies of prophecy. The philosophy of prophecy. The releaser of prophecy. The releasers of prophecy. The releaser of prophecy. The release of prophecy. The releases of prophecy. The release of prophecy. The variable of prophecy. The variables of prophecy. The variable of prophecy. The cause of prophecy. The causes of prophecy. The cause of prophecy. The effect of prophecy. The effects of prophecy. The effect of prophecy. The journey of prophecy. The journeys of prophecy. The journey of prophecy. The emergence of prophecy. The emergences of prophecy. The emergence of prophecy. The source of prophecy. The sources of prophecy. The source of prophecy. The originator of prophecy. The originators of prophecy. The originator of prophecy. The origin of prophecy. The origins of prophecy. The origin of prophecy. The forefather of prophecy. The forefathers of prophecy. The forefather of prophecy. The foremother of prophecy. The foremothers of prophecy. The foremother of prophecy. The ancestor of prophecy. The ancestors of prophecy. The ancestor of prophecy. The descendant of prophecy. The descendants of prophecy. The descendant of prophecy. The lineage of prophecy. The lineages of prophecy. The lineage of prophecy. The heritage of prophecy. The heritages of prophecy. The heritage of prophecy. The heir of prophecy. The heirs of prophecy. The heir of prophecy. The co-heir of prophecy. The co-heirs of prophecy. The co-heir of prophecy. The joint heir of prophecy. The joint heirs of prophecy. The joint heir of prophecy. The dynasty of prophecy. The dynasties of prophecy. The dynasty of prophecy. The force of prophecy. The forces of prophecy. The force of prophecy. The law of prophecy. The laws of prophecy. The law of prophecy. The pact of prophecy. The pacts of prophecy. The pact of prophecy. The game of prophecy. The games of prophecy. The game of prophecy. The mask of prophecy. The masks of prophecy. The mask of prophecy. The armor of prophecy. The armors of prophecy. The armor of prophecy. The sword of prophecy. The swords of prophecy. The sword of prophecy. The shield of prophecy. the shields of prophecy, the shield of prophecy, the force shield of prophecy, the force shields of prophecy, the force shield of prophecy, the armored force shield of prophecy, the armored force shields of prophecy, the armored force shield of prophecy, the champion of prophecy, the champions of prophecy, the champion of prophecy, the guardian of prophecy, the guardians of prophecy, the guardian of prophecy, the defender of prophecy, the defenders of prophecy, the defender of prophecy, the protector of prophecy, the protectors of prophecy, the protector of prophecy, the chant of prophecy, the chants of prophecy, the chant of prophecy, the shape of prophecy, the shapes of prophecy, the shape of prophecy, the cube of prophecy, the cubes of prophecy, the cube of prophecy, the cuboid of prophecy, the cuboids of prophecy, the cuboid of prophecy, the sphere of prophecy, the spheres of prophecy, the sphere of prophecy, the spheroid of prophecy, the spheroids of prophecy, the spheroid of prophecy, the prism of prophecy, the prisms of prophecy, the prism of prophecy, the pyramid of prophecy, the pyramids of prophecy, the pyramid of prophecy, the cylinder of prophecy, the cylinders of prophecy, the cylinder of prophecy, the cone of prophecy, the cones of prophecy, the cone of prophecy, the triangle of prophecy, the triangles of prophecy, the triangle of prophecy, the circle of prophecy, the circles of prophecy, the circle of prophecy, the semicircle of prophecy, the semicircles of prophecy, the semicircle of prophecy, the square of prophecy, the squares of prophecy, the square of prophecy, the rectangle of prophecy, the rectangles of prophecy, the rectangle of prophecy, the parallelogram of prophecy, the parallelograms of prophecy, the parallelogram of prophecy, the rhombus of prophecy, the rhombuses of prophecy, the rhombus of prophecy, the trapezoid of prophecy, the trapezoids of prophecy, the trapezoid of prophecy, the polygon of prophecy, the polygons of prophecy, the polygon of prophecy, the pentagon of prophecy, the pentagons of prophecy, the pentagon of prophecy, the hexagon of prophecy, the hexagons of prophecy, the hexagon of prophecy, the septagon of prophecy, the septagons of prophecy, the septagon of prophecy, the octagon of prophecy, the octagons of prophecy, the octagon of prophecy, the nonagon of prophecy, the nonagons of prophecy, the nonagon of prophecy, the decagon of prophecy, the decagons of prophecy, the decagon of prophecy, the evolution of prophecy, the evolutions of prophecy, the evolution of prophecy, the revolution of prophecy, the revolutions of prophecy, the revolution of prophecy, the elemental art of prophecy, the elemental arts of prophecy, the elemental art of prophecy, the elemental science of prophecy, the elemental sciences of prophecy, the elemental science of prophecy, the elemental principle of prophecy, the elemental principles of prophecy, the elemental principle of prophecy, the elemental technology of prophecy, the elemental technologies of prophecy, the elemental technology of prophecy, the low elemental art of prophecy, the low elemental arts of prophecy, the low elemental art of prophecy, the low elemental science of prophecy, the low elemental sciences of prophecy, the low elemental science of prophecy, the low elemental principle of prophecy, the low elemental principles of prophecy, the low elemental principle of prophecy, the low elemental technology of prophecy, the low elemental technologies of prophecy, the low elemental technology of prophecy, the high elemental art of prophecy, the high elemental arts of prophecy, the high elemental art of prophecy, the high elemental science of prophecy, the high elemental sciences of prophecy, the high elemental science of prophecy, the high elemental principle of prophecy, the high elemental principles of prophecy, the high elemental principle of prophecy, the high elemental technology of prophecy, the high elemental technologies of prophecy, the high elemental technology of prophecy, the agent of prophecy, the agents of prophecy, the agent of prophecy, the agency of prophecy, the agencies of prophecy, the agency of prophecy, the amplifier of prophecy, the amplifiers of prophecy, the amplifier of prophecy, the amplification of prophecy, the amplifications of prophecy, the amplification of prophecy, the enhancer of prophecy, the enhancers of prophecy, the enhancer of prophecy, the enhancement of prophecy, the enhancements of prophecy, the enhancement of prophecy, the magnifier of prophecy, the magnifiers of prophecy, the magnifier of prophecy, the magnification of prophecy, the magnifications of prophecy, the magnification of prophecy, the influencer of prophecy, the influencers of prophecy, the influencer of prophecy, the influence of prophecy, the influences of prophecy, the influence of prophecy, the emanator of prophecy, the emanators of prophecy, the emanator of prophecy, the emanation of prophecy, the emanations of prophecy, the emanation of prophecy, the converger of prophecy, the convergers of prophecy, the converger of prophecy, the convergence of prophecy, the convergences of prophecy, the convergence of prophecy, the aura of prophecy, the auras of prophecy, the aura of prophecy, the impression of prophecy, the impressions of prophecy, the impression of prophecy, the intelligence of prophecy, the intelligences of prophecy, the intelligence of prophecy, the sophistication of prophecy, the sophistications of prophecy, the sophistication of prophecy, the genius of prophecy, the geniuses of prophecy, the genius of prophecy, the polymath of prophecy, the polymaths of prophecy, the polymath of prophecy, the psychic of prophecy, the psychics of prophecy, the psychic of prophecy, the knowledge of prophecy, the knowledges of prophecy, the knowledge of prophecy, the understanding of prophecy, the understandings of prophecy, the understanding of prophecy, the wisdom of prophecy, the wisdoms of prophecy, the wisdom of prophecy, the secret of prophecy, the secrets of prophecy, the secret of prophecy, the mystery of prophecy, the mysteries of prophecy, the mystery of prophecy, the revelation of prophecy, the revelations of prophecy, the revelation of prophecy, the tactic of prophecy, the tactics of prophecy, the tactic of prophecy, the strategy of prophecy, the strategies of prophecy, the strategy of prophecy, the strength of prophecy, the strengths of prophecy, the strength of prophecy, the might of prophecy, the might of prophecy, the might of prophecy, the power of prophecy, the powers of prophecy, the power of prophecy, the authority of prophecy, the authorities of prophecy, the authority of prophecy, the dominion of prophecy, the dominions of prophecy, the dominion of prophecy, the rhythm of prophecy, the rhythms of prophecy, the rhythm of prophecy, the melody of prophecy, the melodies of prophecy, the melody of prophecy, the music of prophecy, the musics of prophecy, the music of prophecy, the lyric of prophecy, the lyrics of prophecy, the lyric of prophecy, the song of prophecy, the songs of prophecy, the song of prophecy, the dance of prophecy, the dances of prophecy, the dance of prophecy, the spirit of prophecy, the spirits of prophecy, the spirit of prophecy, the soul of prophecy, the souls of prophecy, the soul of prophecy, the body of prophecy, the bodies of prophecy, the body of prophecy, the mark of prophecy, the marks of prophecy, the mark of prophecy, The promise of prophecy. The promises of prophecy. The promise of prophecy. The visionary of prophecy. The visionaries of prophecy. The visionary of prophecy. The vision of prophecy. The visions of prophecy. The vision of prophecy. The picture of prophecy. The pictures of prophecy. The picture of prophecy. The sound of prophecy. The sounds of prophecy. The sound of prophecy. The tongue of prophecy. The tongues of prophecy. The tongue of prophecy. The language of prophecy. The languages of prophecy. The language of prophecy. The communication of prophecy. The communications of prophecy. The communication of prophecy. The people of prophecy. The peoples of prophecy. The people of prophecy. The society of prophecy. The societies of prophecy. The society of prophecy. The fortress of prophecy. The fortresses of prophecy. The fortress of prophecy. The government of prophecy. The governments of prophecy. The government of prophecy. The city of prophecy. The cities of prophecy. The city of prophecy. The nation of prophecy. The nations of prophecy. The nation of prophecy. The civilization of prophecy. The civilizations of prophecy. The civilization of prophecy. The world of prophecy. The worlds of prophecy. The world of prophecy.